So today, we're going to dive into one of the most powerful stories from the ancient world, the story of Ruth. Now, on the surface, it's this beautiful tale of loyalty. But when you look closer, there's a hidden code, a masterclass in symbolism that reveals this profound message about character, destiny, and how a total outsider can literally change the course of history.
And the entire story, the whole thing, really hangs on this one baffling question. How did Ruth, a woman who was a complete outsider in every single sense of the word, end up as the great-grandmother of Israel's most legendary king? Well, the answer is way more complex and fascinating than you might think.
Okay, so to really get how Ruth managed to pull off the impossible, we have to try and see the world through her eyes. We need to appreciate just how far on the outside she really was.
So let's be crystal clear about the odds stacked against her. First off, Ruth was a Moabitess. Her people had a long, hostile history with Israel. Second, she was a widow, which, in her patriarchal world, meant she had zero social standing, zero protection. And if that wasn't enough, she was legally and religiously banned from the very community she wanted to join. By every single metric, she had absolutely no chance.
But here's the thing, her exclusion wasn't just personal, it was, in a way, cosmic. To truly grasp the scale of it, we've got to zoom out and look at the symbolic map of the world she was trying to enter.
And that brings us to this really crucial code word in the biblical text, the number 70. Now, this isn't just some random number. 70 is the symbolic number for the totality of the non-Israelite world. It represents all of humanity that exists outside the central story of Israel.
And you see this number popping up everywhere, reinforcing its meaning. You've got the 70 grandsons of Noah, who supposedly fathered all the nations of the world. You've got the 70 souls of Jacob's family who went to Egypt and became a nation. 70 basically signifies a complete set, the whole shebang, the entire world outside the covenant.
So, the main point here is this. Ruth starts her journey as a representative of this vast outside world. Symbolically, she is one of the 70 nations, trying to find her way into the one.
But then, everything changes. And not because of some miracle or shift in her circumstances, but because of a single, world-altering choice she makes. A choice that lets her start rewriting her own destiny.
So faced with this totally uncertain future, her mother-in-law, Naomi, tells both her daughters-in-law, hey, go back home. In Orpah, she makes the safe, logical choice. Of course she does. She returns to her people, her culture, her gods. It's the path of self-preservation. But Ruth says no. She stakes her entire future on this wild, radical act of loyalty. She makes this profound oath. And this is one of the deepest expressions of loyalty you'll find in the entire Old Testament. This isn't just about sticking with family. She is abandoning everything she has ever known. Her nation, her identity, her religion, everything. You see, this goes so far beyond simple loyalty. It's a complete reinvention of her very being. She's voluntarily grafting herself onto a new people and a new God, becoming what ancient commentators would later call the perfect convert.
And it's this radical act of loyalty that leads her right to the heart of the story, to the most symbolic scene of the whole book, the threshing floor. This is where her character is about to be tested in the most dramatic way you can imagine.
So first, what is a threshing floor? Well, literally, it's just a place for processing grain. A big, flat, windy spot where farmers would separate the part you can eat from the part you just throw away.
And the process itself is the whole key. First, the stalks are crushed and broken apart. Then, the whole mess gets tossed up into the air. The wind, which is so often a symbol for a divine spirit, comes and blows away the light, useless bits, the chaff. But the heavy, valuable grain, it falls straight back down to the ground. It's about separation. It's about judgment. It's about revealing what's true.
And this is where it all clicks. The physical process becomes this powerful metaphor. The threshing floor is a place of divine judgment. Life's trials, those are the sledge that breaks down our outer shell. The chaff is everything superficial about us, while the grain is our true character, our purified soul.
And this is the setting for Ruth's incredible high-stakes gamble. Just imagine this. Naomi tells her to go to Boaz, a powerful and respected man, in the middle of the night at this exposed, vulnerable place. And there, in the dark, she makes her move. She asked him to spread the corner of his garment over her, which wasn't a romantic move, but a formal, public, and legally binding request.
She was asking him to be her Goel, her kinsman redeemer.
Now, this was a specific role in their society. It was a male relative who was responsible for protecting the family name and property, and that often meant marrying a widow to make sure the family line didn't die out.
So, you see what's happening. On this threshing floor, they are both being sifted like grain. Ruth risks her reputation, completely. I mean, Boaz could have easily taken advantage of her, but instead, he shows unbelievable integrity. In this moment of testing, they are both proven to be wheat, not chaff. Their true character shines through.
And that single moment of truth, where integrity met courage, that's the key that unlocks her incredible reward, and finally answers our question. And the outcome wasn't just personal, it became a legacy for all of us.
And here it is, the payoff. The outcast from Moab marries the Redeemer from Bethlehem. Their son is Obed, their grandson is Jesse, and their great-grandson, none other than King David. From a position of absolute nothing, her radical loyalty and her tested character put her right at the foundation of Israel's royal dynasty.
But you know, her reward was so much more than just a royal bloodline. Her very identity was transformed. The label Ruth the Moabitess gets totally replaced with a new title, Eshet Hayil, a woman of excellence. Her story becomes this timeless proof that our character, not where we come from, is what truly defines us. And in this really beautiful symbolic twist, ancient tradition notes that the numerical value of Ruth's name, when you add it to the core laws given to all nations, equals the total number of commandments in the Torah, a perfect symbol of her complete integration into her new spiritual home.
And this is why this ancient story still matters so much. Because in a way, we all start out as part of the 70 nations. We're all on the outside looking in at something. And sooner or later, life brings every single one of us to a threshing floor, to a moment of trial where our true character is put to the test.
So what's the big takeaway here? Perhaps it's this, that in the end, we are not defined by the random, superficial chaff of our circumstances, but by the solid, heavy grain of our character that remains after the sifting is done.